Hi everyone, my name is Megan Mason and this is my EDL 853 Module 1 Personal Intro presentation. Some personal information first. This is my family up here. I am married to my husband of almost 5 years in July, and we have two kids, Markayla, who is 3, and then Paxton, who is 1. I am from a small town in Nebraska, Deshler, Nebraska. I lived there all my life, and once I graduated high school, I attended McPherson College in Kansas for my undergraduate, and I graduated with a degree in history and special education. What brought me to McPherson was I got recruited for track, so I was a thrower there. I did javelin, discus, shot put, and the hammer throw. And that's where I met my husband. He was also on the track team. Some of my hobbies are obviously spending time with my family, being outside. We just bought a home this past year, so we've been just having fun, enjoying the country, and um, getting to be outside a lot is awesome. And I'm trying to start gardening as a hobby, and it's not amazing yet, but I'm still working on that. My work experience, my first teaching job was in Pratt, Kansas for the cooperative. I was a 6 through 8 adaptive special education teacher there for a year. I coached all 3 sports there. And then my husband got a job here in Colony where we are now. And during that period of transition, I became a para at that school at Crest for a semester. And then I was reassigned to a long-term sub at Royster Middle School. And I loved it there, so I became the 6 through 8 BD teacher there for 2 years. Enjoyed it a lot. But what brought me back to Colony Crest was just being where my husband was and being in town where I live. So now I've been here for will be coming my 5th year, and I'm the 6 through 12 adaptive PE or um, special education teacher. I coach track, and I'm also the driver's ed teacher. All right, some objectives that we're going to talk about are building an exclusive culture, being an advocate, plans and strategies for inclusive culture, and steps to change assumptions of inclusion culture. So, what is inclusive culture? That's where we need to start. The legal definition is to the maximum extent appropriate, handicapped children, including those children in public and private institutions or other care facilities, are educated with children who are not handicapped, and that special classes separate schooling or the removal of the handicapped children from the regular educational environment occurs only when the nature or severity of the handicap is such that education in regular classes with the use of supplementary aids and service cannot be achieved satisfaction. So this brings us to being an advocate. We as teachers always say you have to advocate for your students. I strongly agree with this, and this is one way to do this is being able to have equity. This means not compromising for or anything for your kids. Having the same expectations. Not saying that, well, they're identified so they can't do this. That's not acceptable. And then the being prepared for each student. So where to start? Understand where each student comes from, knowing their educational background, know their home life, making sure that they can't use that as an excuse, more as how can we overcome this obstacle and be successful. So I have a lot of students and actually some teachers that would say, well, they have an IEP, they can't do this, so we'll just let them sit out on this. And it's just like, I don't agree with that. So being able to raise every student above their own expectations. I have probably all my students at one point said, well, I can't do that because I'm dumb or I'm identified so I can't do this. So my goal every year is to make sure I prove them wrong at least once that they can do this. And then customize your school program from each student. It's a lot of work. honestly, to figure out how did it help the kiddo in your class. But it's so satisfying once you figure it out. And then be able to collaborate when you're done. What went wrong? What went right? So knowing what's going to help you in the long run with each student is another place for an advocate to start. Steps for a school leader to make changes. So it starts with the academic support, getting your teachers on board, telling them, going over all the students, going through their backgrounds, getting your special education teachers involved, and working together to figure out what will help the student. And that ties into their curriculum. How can you change your curriculum in a way that you can make it differentiated? So, but without like pointing out, well, we're doing this because of the students in my class. I mean, we all have those kids in our classes that are at different levels. So we want to include all of them in different ways to learn. Integrate student bodies, so that's getting those identified kids out into the classrooms, being with their other peers who are not identified. Um, Adjust ranking calculations, so making sure that, um, these kids are in the classroom, and if they do really well, make sure we're including all of that. And then create a respectful school community. Get your community on board. Your communities are what drives your school. They are a huge part of your school, whether you think so or not. And create a place for discussion. Open up that, hey guys, we need to talk. Let's get through this together. Let's talk about the positive and negatives that are going on here. Plans and strategies, value what the student brings. So find their strengths and build on that. Use their weaknesses also to offset that, because you can build up their weaknesses to make them stronger by using those strengths. Establish a respectful class climate. So one thing I like about Crest is all of our kids are very interactive with my identified kids. They're always supportive. They hang out with them. They are part of my mentoring system with my kiddos that are identified. Plan for everyone to participate and achieve no matter what you're doing. Include them. And then again, taking the community approach, get the kids out in the community, let them meet people and let them, like, especially like for job shadowing, I'm trying to get my kids out so they can be prepared for after high school. And then changing negative assumptions that affect teaching and learning. Um, Communicate again with those community members. That's even the parents, because even the parents may think that their kids can't do something. I had a parent that after her child was going to graduate, she's like, "Oh, he's just going to live at home. He can't hold a job." So what I did is I made connections with our local diner, and he got to go work there. And we proved to mom that he can hold a job. And that's communicating with the students, with the staff, getting everybody on board. Understanding the IDEA rules and laws, highlight the benefits of inclusion, but also present the negative effects if we separate and exclude these kids. So these are my references that I used, and I look forward to seeing you all more and working with you. Thank you.